Right.
Hey everyone, it's Kim Barnes Jefferson here, and I am the host of FabFit TV. I help women to break free of the diet mindset so they can live a life of balance, peace, and harmony when it comes to diet and exercise. So today's topic came to me from one of my good friends, and she was like, Kim, I am so tired of being tired. She's like, she's like, I used to be this bundle of energy, and now I'm just like dragging ass all the time. And so she's like, is there anything I can do for my energy levels? Like, seriously, like, what can I do? And, one of the things I always say is that, especially in this life, it's so easy for us to get caught up in the grind, get caught up in the hustle, and that we lose track of the main thing. We lose track of the things that we're not supposed to, the things we want to do. We lose track of, especially for those of us who run our own businesses. And I spend a lot of time with people who run their own businesses. And so we're always, you know, thinking of new products to sell, working with clients. Sometimes we don't have boundaries with our clients. So, we're burning the midnight oil, or maybe it's my side hustle. And maybe, I got a 9 to 5 and I'm, working it at both ends. And I remember, gosh, it was what, maybe 15 years ago that I had the side hustle. And I remember I had a more than full time job, and I would train clients in the morning. I would get ready for fitness competitions, and then I would train clients at night. And I scratched my head because I'm like, how? How did I do all of that? And then I remember, you know what? You were so dead dog tired all the time because I was burning the candle at both ends. I wasn't sleeping. I was always like running here, there, and everywhere. And so the thing that I want you to take away is that energy management is way more important than time management. Because even if it's something like super important that you really want to do, if you're bone tired, you ain't gonna. Or if you get there, you're gonna resent it. You're gonna be like, why the heck did I go? I would rather be sitting on my couch, Netflixing, or flat out in my bed. So feel me through this. Feel me through this, because everything requires energy, and I'm not just talking like physical energy. I'm talking like mental energy. I'm talking emotional energy. Those people who just drain the crap out of you. I'm talking that like just mental energy of just thinking. If you have a project that you're working on that requires brain power, if you're tired, it feels like no one's home upstairs. And then just the physical energy of like, can I lift my booty up out of this chair? So, and as you know, energy is a finite resource. It's like kind of like land. They ain't make it anymore. So, we all kind of have like this, a battery. We all have a battery, and just like our cell phones, like we got to plug that stuff in, and we got to make sure that we're carrying and feeding that battery. And if you think about now, if you have an iPhone, sometimes that battery, it used to be really good, and sometimes it's not so good. So that you might need an extra charge every once in a while. And unlike the iPhone, you can't exactly just go to the Apple Store and get a new one. So how do we protect our energy? How do we make sure that we're managing our energy in the best way? How do we make sure that we're not burning ourselves the dirty word out? So let's just kind of take a big step back and say, well, what feeds into physical energy? And one of the biggest things that feeds into a physical energy, especially on a day like today, where I think I saw a thermometer, I think it was like 95, 96 degrees outside. And it's dehydration. Our body is 80% water. So if we are not drinking enough, our bodies start to shut down things that it doesn't need in order to just process water. So are you dehydrated? So make sure that you are drinking water, and make sure you're keeping it in. And I know this is like the one thing that as soon as I say water, everyone's like, oh, I know, I need to drink more water. I don't think I've ever met, I've met like two people that say, I drink enough water, and truly do. You know, so when someone says, "Oh, I drink enough water," I'm like, "Well, how much do you drink?" And if they're like, "Oh, I drink easily 2 gallons," I'm like, "Well, hey, go for it, girl. It's all you." But most people are like, I drink 1 or 2 glasses a day. And I'm like, oh, sweet Jesus. You should look like a sponge right now because you're so dehydrated. The other thing is low blood sugar. And low blood sugar comes from not eating regularly. And, you know, I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole of what you eat. I'm just talking about the frequency of eating. And, you know, I know that I know that I'm guilty of this. That, you know, you're working on a project, your head's down, and then you like lift your head and you're like, wow, 4 hours have gone by. Or, wow, you know, this used to happen to me all the time when I had a 9 to 5. I would come in with my packet of oatmeal and my yogurt, and that was going to be my breakfast. And, you know, I don't think sometimes I didn't even get a chance to get my coat off before someone would be like, hey, Kim, can you take a look at something? And then next thing you know, it's 1 p.m. And there on my desk is my coat, my packet of oatmeal, and my yogurt. And then you're kind of questioning, can I eat this without getting some type of terrible disease? So I totally get that. So I want you to think about, you know, as you are saying, I'm dead dog tired, you know, are you dehydrated? You know, what does your food intake look like? Or, you know, you might be going from sugar high to sugar high so that your blood sugar like spikes up and then it comes back down, and then it spikes up and comes back down. That's a roller coaster that sucks, just so you know. And if you've ever been on it, I've been there, and that's just not a good way to be. The other thing is sleep. You know, if you've watched this show for a while, or you just know me, I talk about sleep all the time. And, you know, if you already show up tired and then you have a really long day, it's going to be a really, really, really long day. So, you know, just make sure that, you know, you're setting a bedtime. And make sure that you don't have a sleep disorder. You know, there are people out there now who, you know, have like sleep apnea, or you might walk in your sleep or whatever. But, you know, just kind of check your sleep. One of the main reasons why I started wearing a Fitbit again was I really wanted to track my sleep. Now, I know it's not like perfect, but I was looking for a ballpark. And through this, I've been able to get a better ballpark of, you know, the nights when I say to myself, God, I slept like crap last night. And then I'm able to look and be like, well, Kim, you only got 5.5 hours. No wonder you feel like crap. Or, you know, the days I feel like it's a magical day, and then I'm like, oh, because I got 8 hours of sleep. So, you know, it's able to help you, even though I'm already in tune with my body, it was better for me to be like, okay, yes, it's true. When I get more sleep, I feel better. When I get less sleep, not so much. Depression, you know, that's another, depression or anxiety, you know, that's another reason why you could feel tired. You know, if you're anxious, you might not be sleeping well. Or if you're just anxious, you just might always feel like on alert. And so that's draining in and of itself, because you're always like, you know, kind of you might not physically feel like you're flinching, but like your neurons are firing at a much faster pace than if you were in a relaxed state. And then with depression, you know, just the thought of getting out of bed, just the thought of thinking about getting out of bed, or just the thought of thinking about anything makes you exhausted. And, you know, we're now kind of coming out of allergy season, but, you know, April, May, early June, when you're in the throes of allergy season, you know, that could just like make your energy just go into the tanker. You know, for me, I get headaches, and that is a tough road. I know other people are sneezing and wheezing and all that other stuff, but that's definitely something that can contribute to your energy. And just medical issues, you know, thyroid issues, adrenal issues, hormonal issues can also, you know, mess around with your energy levels. And, you know, all of that, you know, with all that said, you know, it's really easy for all of those factors to have multiple factors. And I want you to the best way I always tell people is log, and then log again. And that way you're able, if you go to see a professional, it could be a medical professional. Oh, excuse me. It could be a medical professional. It could be a health coach. But the more background you have, the better the more background you have, the better you are able to answer their questions, or say, if they ask a question, be like, I never thought of it, but here's my sleep log, or here's my food log. And as someone who is in the profession, you're like, oh my God, you're magical. You're a unicorn, because not many people keep that. And so the more you're able to keep a log, I think of logs as twofold. For the person, it's accountability, and then also it helps you see patterns. For the coach, medical provider, what it does is we look for patterns, and then we also are able to see, what might be some of the gaps that might be missing, that might be causing you to have whatever the symptoms that you are having. So first step, and I know, logs are a pain in the rump shaker. I totally get it, but it's like, it's for us as a health professional, it is something that we can say, okay, at least let's start here, versus pin the tail on the donkey when it comes to figuring out what's going on with you. And of course, I'm talking about energy, and I'm yawning. I wonder if that's like a sign or something that I need to get more sleep. So with hydration, one of the big things I know, especially for a lot of my folks, especially the entrepreneur world, coffee. You are meeting people for coffee, you have coffee with clients, and it's coffee. Well, yes, coffee gives you that nice boost, that nice high, and trust me, I love me some coffee, so never, ever, ever take your coffee away, because I'm not giving up my coffee. But it's very dehydrating. So I want you to think about, as you're having coffee, have this yin and this yang. So for every cup, have a cup of water. So, that's where the balance comes. Or, maybe set yourself a time that, I'm not going to have coffee after noon. Or, you might switch to decaf, or you might switch to tea. Something other than coffee. And, excuse me. And for those of you guys who are into facts, I got some little factoids up in here. So for every cup of coffee you drink, you lose a cup and a half of liquid in your body, because coffee is a dehydrator. So it takes water, it leaches water from your body. So if you had 8 cups of coffee, you're literally losing almost, if I did the math, you're losing about 4 cups of liquid in your body. Interesting. So that means you need to be having at least 4 additional cups of water to make sure that you have equilibrium. Sleep. I know this, especially as someone who's burning the candle at both ends. You have kids, or a more than full-time job. I totally get it. But setting up a bedtime is just paramount. If you think about your kids, and if little Johnny or Susie, they don't get to bed at whatever bedtime you've established, they're bears the next day. Now, and this, so you move heaven and earth to make sure that little Jimmy and little Susie gets to bed on time. So I want you to think about your little Jimmy, your little Susie, and you focus on getting you to bed on time. And I know on your iPhone you can set a setting for bedtime, and then it shows you if you want to get 7 hours, 8 hours of sleep, and it'll tell you, okay, if you want to get 8 hours of sleep, you need to go to bed at this time. When you get 7 hours of sleep, you need to go to bed at this time. You can set up your Fitbit to buzz when it's time for you to start getting ready to go to bed. And then, even though you have a bedtime, I want people to think about like having this bedtime ritual, right? Because so many people will be like, well, I'm in bed watching TV, so I just fall asleep. Well, that didn't tell your body that it's time to power down. You basically just petered out. And with a bedtime ritual, what that does is it starts to, transition you mentally that it's time to go to bed. And that's where, for people who have trouble sleeping, this can be life changing. And, for those of you who have trouble sleeping, trust me, on the nights that I can't sleep, I'm just like, praise Jesus, what can I do to make this go away? So one of the things that I've learned from me personally is that I need to have that, ritual. And if you think about, if you have kids or you see friends with kids, there's a ritual that, there's the bath, and then there's like a couple books, and then there's, a stuffed animal or two, whatever it is. But there's a sequence of events that take place before they put them to bed. So think about it, but for you, and I've shared this before, but I'll share it again. For me, so at 8:45, my Fitbit says, "Hey girl, it's time to shut it down." So that means no electronics. I'm done with my electronics. I go upstairs, I change into my pajamas, I brush my teeth, I wash my face, I read 10 pages of a book, I write in my gratitude journal, and lights out by 10 o'clock. And so what I want you to think about is what could your evening ritual look like, so that your body knows, oh, when we take these steps, it's night time. And, you want to have a good sleep environment. You want to make sure you have a great bed. You want to have a great pillow. It's quiet. I'm still, after 16 years of marriage, I'm still begging my husband for blackout shades, but I'm going to win that fight one day. I know it. But, do you have a good bed environment? Is it quiet in your bedroom? I know, especially in the summertime, if you have the windows open, it could be a little noisy. I know I got some loud birds. But just think about, what is your sleep environment? And, maybe you might need a white noise machine. I know that there's plenty of YouTube videos out there, or, there's actual, some people turn on a fan so they fall asleep to a fan. But figure out, what do you need in your nighttime environment? And the other thing is exercise. Exercise, as much as people think exercise drains you, exercise can invigorate you. It kicks off the endorphins. And that's when you do, I think of exercise as like Goldilocks, that not too much and not too little. So you have to find that sweet spot of where you feel like I can go all night, to, oh my God, I crushed myself and I can't barely move. And, one of the things I always tell people is I start my day with exercise. And, countless studies have shown that those who start their day with exercise stick with it. And one of the reasons why I stick with it is that I know that it's really easy for, after work, for stuff to happen. I know that it's really easy for, work to pile up, or a last minute meeting, or, the boss dumped something on your lap, or you just had a doozy of a day and you just are not feeling it. Where I find that when you shift to the morning, you can take that energy that you got from that workout and bring it with you through the day. The other thing, it's mentally stimulating. So I find that in the morning when I'm working out, if there was something I was trying to, work through the night before, sometimes brilliance comes to me when I'm working out. That, it's just, I don't know if it's just a way of a different wiring in my brain when I'm working out, but I find that some of my most creative ideas come when I'm working out. And, working out doesn't have to take hours. You could easily, get stuff done in, 30 minutes, 15 minutes if you've really pushed. But when you have those shorter workouts, you have to think about the intensity level of that. And, now that it's summertime, take the time, go out for a walk. Go out for a walk in the middle of the day. And just kind of feel the sun on your face. That's a nice energy booster. And, as I said, if you want to really step it up, get a Fitbit and, get in those 10,000 steps a day. And just do your best to try. I'm in several groups, and probably once every few weeks they have like a challenge of like who could get the most steps in a week, and it's just nice to have this like friendly competition amongst strangers, strangers who've become friends that you've never met in person. I talked about food and like, riding kind of like those sugar highs. But, make sure that so many people are like, carbs, 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 I can't have carbs. Well, energy comes from carbs. And the carbs you should run away from, there's a difference between having oatmeal and having a Twinkie. There's a difference between having a sweet potato and having a Lay's potato chips. There's a difference. So I want you to think about the energy comes from carbs. And so if you're carb smart, then you will be able to better manage your weight and better manage your energy through food. And focus on the foods that make you feel satiated. Again, a log comes in so that you're able to see when you feel satiated and when you don't feel satiated. And that way you can say, for example, for me, like eggs. Eggs, as soon as I eat them, about 30 minutes later, I'm like, so what's next? Eggs are healthy, but for some reason, those eggs, just like my body just does not, they don't stick in my body. So I don't really eat eggs a lot because I know that they're not going to stick with me. And you want to have that balance. You want to have that protein. You want to have those veggies. You want to have those starchy carbs. You want to have those good fat oils, not just peanut butter and nuts. And manage your stress, because the stress leads to potentially leads to anxiety, potentially leads to depression. And when you feel anxious, you're not going to be able to sleep. When you feel depressed, you're probably going to sleep way more, and you're going to not want to do a darn thing. So I want you to think about, your stress. Do you need to journal it out? Do you need to talk? Do you need to cut the cord from some people? Do you need to meditate? Like, what do you need to do to manage your stress? And so many people are like, oh, I just exercise. But I want you to have a fallback. I want you to have like 2 things that you do to do that. And then ultimately, do things that make you happy. Because think about, like, when we're looking forward to vacation, we'll get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get on that plane, and we're like, zippity doo dah, zippity yay. I want you to think about what other things it doesn't have to be a vacation, but what other things do you look forward to? Maybe it's an exercise class. Maybe it's a book club. Maybe it's knitting. Maybe it's playing with your kids. I don't know. But figure out something that you like and you look forward to it, because that can give you an extra shot in the arm. Get outside. I don't know about you, but there's something about feeling the sun on my face. If I'm around water, I'm just like, a ping pong ball bouncing around, so excited. So I want you to think about how do you get fired up? And I don't always like to rely on this, but there are supplements out there that can help you in that pinch. B complex the B vitamins are all energy based vitamins. Magnesium, they are responsible for so many, I think it's over 300 functions in our body, including, your immune system, to muscle, to nerve endings. Magnesium does a lot. So if you're not taking magnesium, I highly recommend that you do that. Zinc, vitamin C, we've talked about good fats, and vitamin D3. Yes, you get that from the sun, but most of us have sunscreen on, so make sure you're putting that in. You could also take a contrast shower where you put the water on as hot as you possibly can, and then put it as cold as you can see, and you can go back and forth for about 10 to 15 minutes. Aromatherapy is another wonderful way to get that done. Peppermint is a great way to do that, and just simplify your life so that you don't, say no to more things, that you don't feel like you're always running ragged. Lisa Nichols is a motivational speaker, and the best thing she ever said that like radically changed my life is she said, no is a complete sentence. So it's okay to say no and not feel like you have to tap dance and justify why you are saying no. So I want you to say it's okay not to have that many balls in the air. It doesn't make you any better. It doesn't make you any worse for trying to juggle 500 things. I want you to give yourself permission to just focus on one thing. Because when you focus on one thing, you don't have to worry about trying to have the energy of like, switching from task to task, from person to person. And then I want you to have the courage to get off the hamster wheel. I want you to have the courage to say, you know what, this is not what I want. I want to take back the reins of my life. I want to take back some of my energy. And I want to just stop doing things that just drain the heck out of me. And I just want you to start feeling, more confident, more energized. And, by taking some of these actions, you will be able to start to do that. And these are just some of the things that I'm starting a summer school program starting next Wednesday. Next Wednesday. And these are just some of the topics that I'll be talking about. I'll be talking about time management. I'll be talking about sleep. I'll be talking about habits. Ways for you to just get better at some of the small things that will lead to big things. And I know that for a lot of people, we all, know what our Achilles heels are, but we don't know how to get out of our own way. So through the summer school program, the goal is for me to help you get out of your own way. So I will be back again on August oh my gosh, I'm skipping ahead. I'll be back on July the 23rd, and I'll be talking all about habits. And so we all have habits, even if good habits, bad habits, whatever, we all have them. And I'm just going to be breaking down habits. I'm going to be giving you another preview of summer school. All the information is on my website, fabfitsquad.com. You can find it right there. If you're looking for me on Facebook, I am Kim Barnes Jefferson on Facebook, and I am Kim Jefferson Coach on Instagram. So have a fabulous evening, and I will talk to you